So tell me if this is familiar for you. If you've ever done therapy, you go into a therapist, you sit and you talk and you talk, and it's usually a she listens and she nods her head, understandably. And there you are, you're sitting and talking for 50 minutes, either using your insurance or self pay to the tune of anywhere from $150 to $250. And temporarily, things get better. You feel a little bit more relieved, a little bit of heaviness is lifted from you, but it's temporary. Things get worse. They always get worse. You go back in, you have the same conversation. And some of you are familiar with doing this weekly, sometimes for months, sometimes for years. And what ultimately happens is either you end up going, therapy really isn't helpful for me. I've talked about it and talked about it and talked about it, and nothing ever improves. Or, like a friend of mine, Sally, not her real name, like a friend of mine, Sally, you just get bored of yourself. This is what I wanted to say to Sally. Honey, you could have saved so much money. All you needed to do was meditation or journaling. You would have had the same results. You would have written the same things over and over again until you looked at it and went, oh my God, I'm so bored of myself. And you would have found a way to move on. Talk therapy, I don't have a problem with, but only talk therapy only leads to certain results. Because this is what often happens. Because talk therapists tend to rely on the mythology of mind over matter, that is, the thinking mind over the body, we tend to bypass the understanding that we are emotional creatures. We are embodied creatures, whether or not we're in touch with what's actually going on in here. And until you get in touch with what's going on in here, no real change actually takes place. I know people do this thing, they put post-it notes on their boards, their mirrors, their doors, reminding themselves over and over and over again to restructure their thoughts. But the compulsion remains to really hold on to old beliefs about oneself. And that's not an intellectual effort. The symptom is the thought, but the cause is much deeper. It's here, it's wed to the body. So I'm so excited. My next series is about how talk therapy came to be, its value, its drawbacks, and what needs to happen and is already happening in certain areas of the psychotherapeutic community to actually help it. So we'll be covering kind of the history of talk therapy and why talk therapy was so valuable, and how it's expanded over the 20th and early 21st century to really incorporate much more dynamic. If you are working with a psychotherapist who does that kind of dynamic work, fantastic. But if you're hoping for just talk therapy to move the dial, stay tuned to this series because I think it'll help you understand just why talk therapy really isn't that effective, why it's gotten such a bad rap, and what you need to look for as you choose your next psychotherapist. I'm so excited. Stay tuned.